One of the most prominent smooth soul groups of the early 70s didn't come from Philadelphia or Memphis, two towns famous for sweet, string-laden soul. Instead, this group is from Chicago, a city noted for its gritty urban blues and powerful R&B. This group's sound was smooth and creamy with 4-part harmonies and layered arrangements. During the early 70s, they scored 11 top 10 R&B hits, ranging from romantic ballads to protest songs. The centerpiece of today's video is all about the Shy Lights. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. This story begins in 1959 when the Chanteurs, consisting of lead vocalist Eugene Record, Robert Squirrel Lester, Clarence Johnson, Bert Bowen, and Eddie Reed, formed at Hyde Park Academy High School, where the bulk of the members attended, besides Eugene, who attended Inglewood High. The group performed at their high school senior varieties talent show. Soon after, they released a single written by Johnson. You've Got a Great Love. Bowen quit the group and Solly McElroy of the Flamingos took his place, followed by Marsha Thompson of the Desideros. Reed passed in 1960 and Thompson recruited Criddle Red Jones, a member of the Desideros. Early 1964, the group changed their name to the High Lights because the name High Lights was already in use and they wanted to commemorate their city, so they changed their name to Marshall and the Shy Lights in 1964. Clarence Johnson quit the group later that year and the name was reduced to the Shy Lights. Eugene Record was the musical group's only songwriter and primary vocalist. In 1968, the group met with record producer Carl Davis and negotiated a contract with Brunswick Records in Chicago. Over the following 4 years, the Shy Lights continued to perform and release songs, with Eugene Record gradually emerging as the group's primary vocalist, composer, and producer.
In high school, Marshall joined a vocal quartet called the Desideros that included a bass singer named Criddle Red Jones.
Red was a super singer. He knows notes like nobody's business.
His voice was so deep. When he come in the room, he boom, boom, boy, hey, how you doing? I mean, his voice was so deep and so you'd be like, huh?
At talent shows, the Desideros sometimes squared off against another quartet called the Chanteurs, led by an ambitious singer and songwriter named Eugene Record.
He said that when he was in high school, that it was very difficult for him to concentrate on his schoolwork sometimes, that he would just look out of the window and just think about songs and different melodies would just kind of go through his head.
The Chanteurs also featured an aspiring tenor and natural showman named Robert Squirrel Lester.
He had tremendous chops and he could hit that gritty, soulful kind of thing like Teddy Pendergrass.
Eugene was cool, but Squirrel was even cooler because Squirrel had one of those looks, you know, like Tony Soprano if he didn't want to be bothered.
And we used to sing on these talent shows. So we won a talent show that was singing against Marshall's group. Now their group were dancers. They could dance. We couldn't dance that good. We sang.
Hey, could you teach us how to dance? And we used to tell them, could you teach us how to sing like that?
So in 1959, the four singers, along with Chanteur Clarence Johnson, formed a new group they called the Highlights.
Come to find out, another group was called the Highlights already on Mercury. So let's put a C in front of it, make it, because we're from Chicago. Let's put a C in front of it and make it the Shy Lights.
Through the 60s, the Shy Lights released singles on a variety of small labels. Clarence Johnson eventually left the group to focus on producing, while the other four members struggled to make ends meet.
Eugene was working in the cab. He was a cab driver.
So he'd jump out the cab, dress in the back of the cab, put his clothes on, go do the gig, then come back, jump in the cab, and take somebody to where they have to go.
Squirrel, he was a welder, and Red was working at the post office. And I was a musician, trying to be a musician anyway.
Give It Away became their first national hit single, reaching number 10 on the R&B chart.
You baby, and I don't mean maybe. What's the sense denying I know?
Despite the moderate success of Let Me Be the Man My Daddy Was, the group wasn't able to deliver another big hit until Are You My Woman? Tell Me So climbed into the R&B top 10 in early 1971. Beginning a string of 10 top 10 hits that ran intermittently over the next 4 years. The follow-up to Are You My Woman? For God's Sake, Give More Power to the People was their first pop hit and was the title song on their first of 4 consecutive top 10 R&B albums.
There are some people who are starving to death.
It also set the stage for a pair of slow, soulful ballads, Have You Seen Her?
In the sweet music on my radio. Have you seen her?
And Old Girl, which both reached number 1 on the R&B chart. The latter also topped the pop chart in the spring of 1972. Shortly after the release of the 1973 hit Stoned Out of My Mind. The group splintered with the departures of Credo Jones and Eugene Record. By the end of the year, Jones' role had been filled by Stanley Anderson, Willie Kinsey, and David Doc Robertson. David Scott and Danny Johnson also entered the picture. The latter would leave in 1977, replaced by Vandy Hampton. Scott and Hampton would exit in 1980. A revamped Chai Light scored the top 10 R&B hits Homely Girl.
And you would always raise your hand.
There will never be any peace until God is seated at the conference table.
Has come to light. Tell me who's to blame.
And Toby before Robertson joined.
Then we grew up and time went on.
Brunswick's serious financial problems prevented the label from promoting a bankable group with 4 consecutive top 10 R&B albums. For God's Sake, Give More Power to the People, A Lonely Man, A Letter to Myself, and Shy Lights to go with their pile of hit singles. The Shy Lights signed with Mercury and recorded 2 albums for the label before the end of the 70s. The Shy Lights original lineup, including Eugene Record, reunited in 1980, and the band relocated to 20th Century Fox of subsidiary Shy Sound. Their Shy Sound singles fared better than their Mercury releases, with It's Hot on a Thing Called Love reaching number 15 in 1982. The next year, they switched to MCA distributed LARC Records, where they scored their final top 10 success with Bottoms Up. Credo Jones retired later that year, and the ensemble continued to tour for the rest of the decade. Record quit the group in 1988, being replaced first by Frank Reed and later by Anthony Watson. For more than a decade, Reed and Watson alternated in the Record's job. The Shy Lights, led by Marsha Thompson and Robert Lester, were a frequent draw on the oldies and soul circuits during the 90s, releasing 2 albums. Over the following few decades, the Shy Lights toured in a variety of combinations. Anthony Watson quit the group permanently in 2002. Frank Reed returned to the group, playing with them and appearing on the Shy Lights' final studio album, which was released in 2006. Tara Thompson, Fred Symie, Mac Miller, Marzette Griffin, and Warren Tipton have now joined Marsha Thompson, the Shy Lights' sole surviving member, to keep the group active into the 2020s. In addition to many covers and samples of their hits and deep cuts, the Shy Lights' legacy has been bolstered by multiple awards. The Shy Lights had their share of fallen members, including Robert Squirrel Lester, who passed in 2010, Eugene Record, who passed in 2005, Credo Red Jones passed in 1994, Clarence Johnson passed in 2011, Frank Reed passed in 2014, and Anthony Reinhard Watson passed in 2021. The group was admitted into the Rhythm and Blues Foundation in 2000, and Eugene joined them on stage to play and collect the honor. The group was inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2005, and they were also inducted into the R&B Music Hall of Fame on August 17, 2013. On September 30th, 2021, the Shy Lights got the 2,700 second star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Shy Lights were inducted into the Atlantic City Walk of Fame on April 26, 2024, near Brighton Park. The Shy Lights, while being mainly made up of new members, continue to make songs and perform. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from the Shy Lights?